Besides charging, like $25 for dice and then $30 for a starter set that has dice in it, which is the practice across many major tabletop gaming companies, another little sort of economic funkiness is that sometimes you can get things as part of board games for a lot less money you could get them on their own. And I find this is often true with miniature or miniature figurines. One thing I did not kickstart for the Alien RPG, because I'm trying to go on a kickstart fast, is their miniature set. And I really wanted to, but I've got too many unpainted miniatures. And so as I was leaving my FLGS, I spotted this in the board game section. And I often do check out the board game section just to see if there's anything that could be useful inside there. Because again, for whatever reason, it's almost like companies will reveal the true price of things because they're like, oh, you want these miniatures? Well, this one miniature right here is going to cost you $40. And then they'll be like, oh, we're making a board game. Throw 6 miniatures in there and charge $19 for it. Because that was the case for these. Each of these together were $39. And this one is the Ultimate Badasses expansion, which came with 6 miniature Marines. Or to be more specific, it came with 5 Marines. And this is actually really exciting. It came with 5 Marines and, from Mad About You, Paul Reiser. Remember Paul Reiser opposite Helen Hunt? So I actually have a Paul Reiser, because don't forget, he was in Alien. So it's my first Reiser miniature. It's like, that's classic Reiser right there. It's like, is he saluting? Is he stressed? Who knows? The game itself, I don't know how to play it. I don't know what it is. It looked, I just don't like board games that much. But hey, you get some dice. These cards right here, I was looking through them, and they all have different like power-up names for whatever the board game is. Quick reflexes and expect the unexpected. 5x5. I was like, maybe I could use those for some sort of oracle input or something like that. Who knows? Maybe I'll check out the game. But I really do like the miniatures that come with this. I painted up some from the We're in the Pipe 5x5 expansion, and they're really nice. One of the things I really like is that on the base, it has like the name of the character. And so I painted up the ones from this one, which has like some... where is the back of this one? Okay. Well, I'm not going to flip it over. You can see what's right here. It's right in front of us. It just has 2 of the Marines, and they very much look like the people who aren't going to survive. Like, look at this guy right here. Does he not look like the dude in every movie who's like, get back, and then he like shoots someone on his fire team because he gets confused? But that's okay because we're playing Last Survivor. And so I really only need one and maybe a companion. And if I need something else, I could dip into the Ultimate Badasses. Or if Predator comes, I could just get a Chaos Space Marine going. Alien and Predator, they're in the same universe. But the real treat is these Xenomorph molds, which were super easy to build until it got to the tail, because each of the tails you had to like glue onto the coccyx. And they're so narrow that I just had to sit there like with this tiny little miniature holding the tail for like, and then blowing on it. But it also came with this little playing board here, which I think is perfect for like the iconic scene of an alien, any type of alien adventure where it's like crawling through the ducts, and there's actually in Alien Evolved Edition, there is some stealth instructions, as well as there is instructions for going through a vent and entering the vent. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Alien Evolved Edition. In fact, let me focus that here. All right. So as this is the second video I've made on this. I can't take it anymore. I keep sitting here reading it over and just thinking that in a lot of ways, this Alien Evolved is like the best of what tabletop role playing can be, the experience of it, because the PDF, which they sent out, it's on the second beta version, or if you're British, the beta, second beta. It is the, not only is it a great core rule book addressing a lot of the things that maybe weren't great in terms of aesthetic layout, even some rules from the first one, but it's also like my favorite type of book, which is a coffee table book. I mean, the Alien universe is one of those universes where every time I dip my toe into it, I go, oh yeah, like there is so much to this. And even though it goes some wackadoo places, it has this foundation of a really great central idea about the expansion of humanity, very much a vision of how that future is going to look. Several different alien species, obviously the xenomorphs being the primary one. And it has different stakeholders. It has the Yutani Corporation. It has the United Americas. And it goes over all of this. It gives you different specs on the weapons and everything like that. And so I just really like it. And one of the things that it added, in addition to The Last Survivor, is an opportunity to explore some of the sites like we have Novgorod Station, which I'm thinking probably be good for solo play, and it's laid out by different floors and tells you what each of these floors look like. Jackson Star, which is the Weyland-Yutani mining colony, this could be treated as sort of a home base of operations. And so this is, in terms of games that are made from, oh, geez, I almost died. Games that are made from established IPs like this is as good as that can be, right? You want to feel like you are inside that movie or that game or whatever it is, but you also want to feel like you have freedom to explore that on your own. And to do that, there has to be places that you can go other than where they were in the movie. Like, I want to see what was going on while, Ripley and the gang were having their little shenanigans. So what I thought we would do, just to kind of like further immerse into this and show you what I think is like some really awesome components of this game, which will be shipped, it says, in September. So can't wait for that. And I've just printed out some pages because, again, I kind of want to limit, not only because it's the beta version, but also because they haven't released it yet, just to, Free League is very good to me. So I won't show everything here, but I wanted to go over life paths because their life path system is really, really cool. And it's what I've wanted a life path system to be. It essentially like sees your way through, obviously, your early life and stuff like that. But then it also has you kind of like applying to different things and seeing, were you successful at that? If not, did you get kicked out? Did you have to lie to make it into the Colonial Marine Academy or whatever? And then I thought we would just go over some of the different things with combat and stuff like that, because another great thing is that because the miniatures that they have, they do look really nice. Here's what that looks like. Because they're kickstarting it with those, they do have those in mind in terms of the instructions and everything like that. And I just wanted to do the life path system, do character creation, check out like stealth movement, and just sort of be ready so that in September, when this comes, we could just pull it out of the box and just start playing together. And they are taking late pledges, but really at this point, it's just, you're just buying it. Like, it's if you want to try to get in early on it, that's the way to go. But and again, do what you like with that. I will say though, for the past couple Kickstarters from other companies, not Free League, I have seen the product that I have kickstarted in my FLGS for sale before I get it. Free League is one of the few places where that hasn't happened. They've sent it to me before, but a lot of the Kickstarters that I've done recently, it's actually been um, a poor experience because I've had to give up that money early, and it's also been regrettable because it's there for me to buy and I can't buy it. I mean, I could buy it, but then I'd be buying it and getting the Kickstarter who knows when, a day later, a week later, etc. So late pledges are available. They have a miniature set, they have a cinematic adventure, a starter set, which apparently, unless I'm able to reverse this, I'll be having two of those. The reason why I chose the starter set, um, or sorry, the adventure. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. It'll be easier. All right. So originally, I wasn't gonna go with the starter. I wasn't gonna go with the starter set because I already have dice, and um, I just was like, I don't know, is that what I'm paying for? That dice is a lot of that, and instead I'm gonna go with Rapture Protocol. Um, but as I was looking at this is very much, it looks very cool. Um, but there's really not much in here that I can't enjoy with PDF other than the map. The map was the only thing that I was a little bit tempted by. But with the starter set, which costs less, I'm going to get these quick start rules booklet, which I really like when I'm doing group play with my friends. I can give them a copy of like a starter set rule book to take a look at. The dice are probably a little bit overkill, but it's also pretty good because you got to remember when you are doing your base roll before stress dice, you are adding an attribute and skill together just out of one die pool. It's not like other Free League games where you have three different types of dice or more. You are compiling it out of, I think, yellow dice or whatever it is. And so it's good to have those, especially as the game progresses and your rolls become really big. Gear cards, initiative cards, love those. Then this supply dial, I really like that for air and ammo, just kind of this abstracted way to count things down. Character sheet's great. And I'm still getting a large full color map. I'm getting a miniature, a little xenomorph miniature, which is kind of a nice touch. But ultimately, I was like, I think I want that. And I like it so much that, now I have two of them. And so with the Rapture Protocol, I don't know, tokens, and then agenda cards. That's like in terms of cards that I want that will be helpful in terms of, like, I'm getting agenda cards here with the starter set, and if you see on the bottom right there, and then gear cards and initiative cards are just way more useful. So again, I think it has to be the fact that companies take a hit with the starter set. They sell it at a low price and it gives you tons, and they want you to start playing because they're going to recuperate that through, you say, oh wow, this is good, I got to get the rest of it, right? That has to be the trick. And so if you can stand to just get the starter set and like a PDF of the core book, that's probably like the best, smartest path for buying a double or triple A TTRPG, as it were. Okay, so I don't even know if that term is applicable there, but I'm talking basically like, obviously, Wizards of the Coast, Paizo, Free League, Modifius, Chaosium. Who's the one that does Cyberpunk? And who's the one that does Vampire the Masquerade? I can't remember those right now. Why can't I remember those? Right, it was White Wolf and Talsorian. Anyways, all right, so let's take a look at the life path here. And where did I put? There we go. So let me start a character sheet here. And for character name, I don't know, I'm just going to kind of think of a random, like, everyday name. Tom, Bill, Jorma. I guess that works. We'll do Jorma. And as for my career, I have a question. I was thinking about this last night, and for some reason, I'm not coming up with a name for this phenomenon of character or too many examples of that, but it's basically it's my favorite type of action movie character. And the only example I can think of, I don't know what's wrong. Maybe I'm suffering from, maybe I got hit by a small meteorite while I was sleeping. But the only example I can come up with was Steven Seagal's character in Under Siege. And this type of character is, I used to be a total badass, but now I'm trying to find my happiness, and I'm with a woman, and she just wants me to come home from work today. And please, I don't want to do any of that stuff anymore. No, I don't want to use my jujitsu. No, I don't want to use this rocket launcher. And they just end up just like, wrecking shop, but they start as like nobody. And they're just trying to blend in. And there's always like the tropes in these movies are so great. Like there's always the part in the movie where they're like looking through the employee files and they're like, what about this guy? And someone's like, huh, what are you talking about? The chef? Yeah, what are we going? What is he going to hit us with a frying pan? It's like, look at his work history, special ops, all of it's deleted. You know what that means? Somebody forgot to back up the drive. All right, so life path system here. We're not going to be an android. I want stress and panic to be a part of this. It's the best part of the game, which I think if you're playing with a group, you can sort of I mean, it's good to have an android if you're playing with a group. That's a good dynamic. But on our own, I don't just want to be like, a xenomorph. I better take cover. There I go, taking cover. Just going to move this out of the way here. All right, so we'll go along the life path here, and then we'll go to the solo section, the last survivor, to see if we have to adjust anything. So human or android, by the way, it just says roll 2d6, and if you're an 11 or 12, you're an android. I'm not going to be an android, but just to go through the motions, we have a 6 and a 1. Best one in gaming right here, face hugger. All right, base attribute. Humans start with a base score of 2 in each attribute. Androids may add +3 to 2 attributes of their choice before starting their life path. Again, this is why it recommends starting as an android, but we don't necessarily want that, but we can still add to the character stats if we want to. This is what we would do maybe if there was no specific instructions for solo play, but let's just follow it rules as written for now, other than ignoring the first rule. All right, so we start with a 2 in each attribute, and that is where we will we'll adjust those up and down based on the results of what we do next. By the end of the life path, a human player character has a score of at least 2 in every attribute and nothing above 5. Androids can finish their life paths with attribute scores up to 8. Skill levels can never exceed 5 for any player character, okay? And so that is like under that, you have strength as the attribute, and you have close combat, heavy machinery, and stamina underneath that. All right. If the random life path roll results in an attribute, score, or skill level outside the allowed range, re-roll or choose another result. So we did determine if you're a human or android. Roll for your origin and gain 3 points for random general skills. So this says, origin, which super nation were you born into? What do you call home? Roll 2d6 on the table. And I left some of these separate here so we could see them together. Okay, so 2d6. I like having one of each. I don't know why. 8. United Americas. Great, great countries. And should we go through with the sub-affiliation? Roll okay, 2d6 on the table below, then d6 twice for your sub-affiliation. Finally gain 3 points in random general skills. Okay. So we're in the United Americas, and I can probably zoom. And 6. Minor corporation. Oh, that's good. And that's my sub-affiliation. And my home is for Tartarus. Great. So I'm from the Tartarus sector, and I'm going to gain 3 points in random general skills page XX. So that's not finished yet, but we can probably guess what page that is. Let's take a look. All right, so the 12 skills here divided by attribute. All right, and so again, when we would be rolling a skill, we would add the dice that the attribute plus the skill. And since there's 12 of them, we'll just randomly roll since we're going random here. 4. So mobility, we'll do 1, 7, 5, 6, 7. Observation, and another in mobility. All right, so I'm just going to put these in mobility 2 and 1 in observation. Okay, pretty good. All right. Early life. What was your early life like? Who did you share it with, and what experiences did you have? Roll D66 3 times on the table, once for each column, and add the specified attribute and skill points, 2 of each to your scores. Decide the precise details of your early life experiences. Okay. You may also gain modifiers to your psych eval roll. I like the psych eval roll. We'll talk about that. All right, so early life experiences. We have 41, religious adept in a brutal cult, +1 wits, +1 empathy. All right. Love that. Religious adept in a brutal cult. So is that me or is that my... Well, we'll see. So +1 wits. So wits go up to 3. +1 empathy. Empathy goes up to 3. And I'm just writing those lightly on there so that I can erase them. And in the company of 51 androids. Okay. And experienced 43 tedious years in space, working for peanuts and forever suffering hypersleep sickness or soul-sucking loneliness, +1 piloting in heavy machinery. All right, so already I'm getting, in my head, I'm getting an image here. And the only word that I'm maybe pushing on a little bit is the idea of the adept. And if we think about what that means, we have the, Latin adeptus, which means to, well, I guess, to have achieved. But then if you're an adept, that means you've achieved a certain amount of enlightenment. But as we know, I could have achieved a certain amount of enlightenment, or I could have just gone through these different formations, especially if I grew up in this religious cult, right? Because I am this religious adept in a brutal cult with androids, and I spent tedious years in space working for peanuts and forever suffering hypersleep sickness and soul-sucking loneliness. Okay, so I think this is just the immediate sort of germination of the idea here. I'm from some religious cult that began to worship the notion of an android, but they worshipped it because of its emotional simplicity. And so there is this formation that they have in which you have to go out on like sort of your pilgrimage, right? How like Mormons go on their mission. And on this, you have to crew a ship. Ooh, I love this actually. Okay, you have to crew a ship with other androids who are lower model. Like they're even for androids, they have very little expression of personality. And the thing is that you don't know who is an android and who is a human. And the whole purpose of this is your formation is considered complete if you go through this thing and you're never found out as an android. All right, so you can't show any emotion, you can't bleed because they have a milky white blood. And you don't know. Am I on the ship with other biological life forms? Am I on the ship with other androids? And the rule of this is that if you find out that somebody else is an android, you have to kill them. And in fact, is a human, you have to kill them. And the other androids are also there. Everyone is programmed that way. So say you're a human and you on that ship, you have a friend who turns out to be a human. You have to kill them or else they're going to kill you because only a non-android would not fulfill that protocol. And so what the result of it is this extremely paranoid time in space where you cannot ever engage in any human emotions or else you'll be killed. And it teaches you, man, this is good. I might write a little short story about this, but okay, let's not get too excited. So we have that early life, and so far character looks pretty cool. And we'll maybe get some more information about what's going on with this guy. All right. Did I do a life event? No, I'm going in order. So your life event can take place at any point in your life path you're choosing, but it's decided now by a D66 roll on the table below. These events offer story hooks and may leave a lasting impact on your PC. The impact should be role played. Your life event gives you 2 specified attribute points and 2 points in random general skills. All right, 11. You live a charmed life. Long may this continue. So I come from a wealthy family, and I gain 2d6 times 50 Weyland-Yutani dollars, a bonus roll on the career gear column of your choice, and +2 to a psych eval roll. Is this the best roll I've ever had on this channel? So I got +1 strength and +1 empathy. My empathy is now up to 4. Okay. And wow, okay. We have 2d6 times 50 Weyland-Yutani. This is awesome. So 500 WYs. Okay. But maybe I live such a cloistered life that I don't even know that that's a lot. You know, like it'd be the kind of thing where people are like, but how are we going to do that if we don't have money? And I'm like, I have 500. Is that a lot? And people are like, what? You have 500? Yeah, I don't know. Here, you want it? Okay. So then, sorry, this was really bothering me. I had to fill in his shoulder pad a little bit. Okay. And then next, so let's make sure we remember this. 2d6 times 50 Weyland-Yutani, a bonus roll on career gear, +2 to psych evaluation roll. Great. So career, next gain 2 points in attributes of your choice, and then apply for your first career. Okay. So this will be of my choice to make sure I'm more rounded out here, because we're approaching the upper limit. And so I guess I will do both of them in agility, just to match the fact that mobility is like my highest here. So this is a good spread here. 3 strength, 4 agility, 3 wits, 4 empathy. We did that. And okay, so this is the part that's really cool. I'm now going to like apply for a career path. So it's clear that at this point I'm like, I can't take it anymore. You know, I've got to get the hell out of here. Apply for your first career. The table on page XX lists the minimum attribute scores for each career. To apply, make a skill test against one of the skills. Oh, is this so cool? Make a skill test on one of the skills. All right. So let me just take a second to look these over a little more closely. I forgot that I get 2 points in random general skills. So actually, this is good. I mean, I guess it's cheating a little bit because you have to have these 3 skills. What I do wonder is like what happens if you make it this far and don't have those as prerequisites. But so I'm thinking I'm not doing kid. All right. So maybe I do pilot because I have piloting. Range combat I can add to random general skills. And comtech. Yeah, I think that's what I do. I put one in Comtech and I put one in range combat. And what I do is I take my I'm like sent out on a small scavenging mission around the larger ship, right? And for whatever reason, I just crack. I can't take it anymore. And I see a corporate vessel going by and I hail them and I dock and um I'm just like, please let me work for you. And they're like, what in the hell? Like, well, what do you do? And you're like, I'm a pilot. And so let's try to apply for that. But it says, all right, you gain 2 points in attributes of your choice and then apply for your first career. We did that. And then this is the minimum attribute scores. So for pilot, I have to have agility 4, which I do. To apply, make a skill test against one of the skills listed for the career. So now this is tough because I think I only have one. Piloting, I would roll 5. Okay. And range combat, I would roll 5. And Comtech, I would roll 4. All right. So we'll just say that I'm going to roll piloting. Yeah, that would make the most sense, right? If I rolled piloting. So we're looking for a success. If we get one success, we join as a recruit. If we get 2 or more, someone's noted that like, oh, sorry, wow, this is really good. This guy's good. And maybe we can get a favor. But also, does it say that I got an extra roll on something? See, this is why I need to remember these damn things. Oh, the favors are next. Gear and what else? +2 on psych eval roll. A bonus roll on your group. Okay. So come on. I'm gonna do a piloting test, and I'm gonna do a barrel roll. Yes. So we got 2, and so that gave me favor. So that means my career is pilot. I'll write that in here. Okay. And make a roll on the favor table right here. 1d6. 2. Free reign in the company warehouse. Make an additional gear roll. So I have 3 gear rolls. Great. So it says you must serve at least 1 term in your career. Did I get everything from this side of the page? All right. Oh, yeah. If you fail an application, you can pull a fast one. I just want to read what this is. Your PC does something underhanded or illegal to get around the system or begs a favor from someone. Settle the details. Your previously unsuccessful roll now counts as 1 success, but now a dangerous secret hangs over you. That's cool. We're not playing as a kid. Once recruited, you go into basic training, get geared up, and get your first paycheck. Isn't this cool? This is like such a great way into the system. So then it says roll D3 twice on the table for career skills, gaining 1 skill level for each roll. And then roll once on the gear table for your career. We're going to roll 3. And then roll for your first paycheck. So we'll roll D3 twice on table for career skills. Let me see where that is. I think it must just be this general skills table right here. So we'll do D66 on this. And we have 51 is survival. Good. And 53 is survival. So we got 2 survival points. That's great. We'll add that here. 2. Okay. So now, D3 twice on the table for career. But wait a minute then. D3 twice on the table for career skills. This is a D66 table. Oh, O'Reilly. Okay, so wait a minute. This is what we're talking about here. I'm going to roll D3 twice on this table, 1, 2, or 3 to increase that because I'm getting trained in those skills. All right. That makes more sense. So we will pull this down from survival. That makes sense because I lived in a cloistered Android community. Okay, so we'll roll D3 twice. Okay, so 3 and 3, so that's going to be Comtech and Comtech. So that goes up to 3. Gaining 1 skill level for each roll, and roll once on the gear table, but that's going to be more than once, obviously. Life event, origin. Maybe the gear table's in the book. All right, that took some thinking. So I'm almost certain it's referring to, even though the page numbers aren't there yet, that it's referring to my actual career page. Since I know I'm going to be a pilot here, I printed this out. And gear is we're just going to roll 3d6 because we get to re-roll twice. And then it says if you roll something more than once, you should re-roll. So we'll roll until 3, 5, 6. All right. Hand radio, Seegson system diagnostic device, and an IRC MK50 compression suit. Boy, do I wish that I got a pistol. But I guess my question is, oh, I see. This is like if you're just rolling up your character, not doing life path. Let me look up what these system diagnostic and hand radio is, because I might do a little solo player's privilege trade. Yep, we're gonna keep the compression suit and pistol, and we'll leave the diagnostic and radio. So I might as well, while I'm here, do my appearance, and we can see about the personal agenda. If we'll definitely roll on it and take what it says, but we might alter it given the little story that I'm cooking up in my head. So appearance, it says choose 2 or roll D6, 4 and 5. Mirrored sunglasses and deadpan expression. So this is like a throwback to me wanting to hide my emotional state so as to not. This is actually, like, in terms of character writing, this is like great writing because basically I'm at war with myself. Mirrored sunglasses, deadpan. And my agenda 1. It's about pushing the limit, taking chance, taking risks. So take a risk. Yeah, I guess that's like the whole thing here, is that I am just tired and I don't want to be an android. I don't want to be. I hate androids. And I'm a human, damn it. That's what a human is supposed to be. Take a risk, be human. This is also where I would get my talent, but I think that's going to come on the life path. And these might be altered as well. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I just thought appearance probably makes sense. And then I'll just roll a signature item as well. This is a D3, so 2, or I guess that's 3. Yeah, my signature item is my pilot's shades. Do I have any tiny items? Okay. So just so you know, I took the M4A3 service pistol, which is a +2 modifier, 2 damage. Range is A and M. I don't know what the slash is there, but we'll figure that out. And then ammo is 2 out of 2. I'm pretty sure that's abstracted, and it's half a pound. And then the IRC Mark 50 compression suit, not a great suit. It gives no protection, and it is -1 to mobility, but it's +5 to air supply, the band. No, air supply, and this is the real treat. It's $14,000. So, anyways, I think next I have to roll my salary. Okay, and so for pilot, my salary is D6 times 100. 4. So I have 9 WYs. So we're at 900 cash. Um, we have the favor. The favor was the gear, right? Yeah, it was free reign in the company warehouse. All right. So now it says, let's see, 287. You must serve at least one term in your career, but may choose to serve up to 3, with the exception of the kid, which can serve only 1. Follow these steps each term. Posting. What did you do during your term? Roll d6 on the relevant table for your career table to find out. This can give you a bonus gear roll, and you also gain 1 point in a random career skill. Okay. This can give you another bonus gear roll. My goodness. Roll d6 on the Okay, so we have these postings here, which kind of the table goes like this. And so for pilot, military, flying dropships and dropping nukes keeps you on your toes. Make a bonus career gear roll. Well, at this point, we'll just add the hand radio back to it. It doesn't really do. In fact, that might be a tiny item. I can't even find it listed in the book, so let's say it's a tiny item. 1049er. Okay, hand radio. And did it say that I get my talent from that as well, or did I make that up? All right, so we'll say that it's going to give me +1 of the key skills. So I'm going to do it in piloting. The last 2 were in Comtech, and I want to make sure that. So we'll go piloting and performance. How well did you do at your job? Make a skill test against a career skill of your choice. You cannot push. If you fail, you suffer a disaster roll. So luckily, I think I get 6 here because my piloting is now at 2, and the agility skill or attributes at 4. So if we fail, we get a disaster. If you roll 1, then your performance is satisfactory. If I roll 2 or more, I get a favor. So I actually fail. And I suffer a disaster, finally, a little bit. And I get -1 on my psych eval, but I had +3, so that means I only have +2. So my disaster is 3. Lost something. Lose a random item of equipment. All right. So my hand radio. They said, 1049er, tell us your coordinates. And I was like, hey, I can't. This is the last you'll hear from me because the hand radio's floating into the void. Oh, actually, there's no echo in the void. Okay. Sorry, my computer was slowing down a bit. I just needed to close some things. Okay. Now, the question is, do I get my talents? Oh, gain 1 random career talent. For your second and third term, you may replace this with a general talent of your choice. So roll d3 for the talent. 5, 2, reckless. You may take +1 stress level before making a skill roll before pushing. You can push the roll normally, gaining another +1. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, because stress dice increase your ability to get a 6, but they also have the face hugger result, which means they also increase your ability to have a breakdown. And so this just says, if I want, I can push it to the limit and add an additional stress dice. Where's my damn okay, reckless. So as far as my posting, I'm trying to see here. What should we do? Make 1 roll for your career gear on pages. Okay, so I'm gonna get a hand radio back, and they say, "Don't lose this one, Jorma." And I say, 10-4. That's a 9er. Victor. And then I also get another paycheck for this term, and that is D6 300. So I'm at 1200. That's what a pilot was, right? It was D6 plus 100. That's their cash. Yep, D6 times 100. So you're also seeing right now like what my short-term memory is like, and if you find that frustrating, imagine living with it. I have a unstoppable long-term memory, but my short-term. Speaking of another term, should you choose to serve another term, follow the process for the first term. However, subtract 1 point from an attribute of your choice for each extra term you serve. Psych eval. Each character ends their life path with their psych evaluation so the company can see what they've got on their hands. Androids undergo a product cognitive stability and also roll on a table. Players should role play the results. So I can actually role play this out to start things. Final touches: decide their name, appearance, age, personal agenda, signature item, buddies and rivals. Okay. So I have a +2 on Psych Eval, and the Psych Eval kind of spreads across these 2 pages here. So you can see it on the bottom. So we're going to roll a 2d6 for this. 7 plus 2 is 9. Positive and compliant. Follows orders for an easy life. That's right. I just don't want to be any trouble. All right. So give me a second here, and I'm going to get us recalibrated. All right, so this is Jorma, and we're going to put just some shades on really quick here. Reflective sunglasses. All right, we got the sunglasses. I got to put some reflection on them, and then, of course, it's the future, so, brands are out, and just having your name on your coat is in. All right, so I had to give Jorma, like, a buddy, that's Pharaoh, and then a rival. It's like, I can't have Paul Reiser in the house without painting him. The only thing I think I need to do is this is why he was, for a time, they were thinking he was going to be a top leading man. Obviously that didn't go that way, but he had jet black hair, and so I think I have to do a wash with over the hair, because it's not Reiseric enough. All right, while I do this, go ahead and put your favorite Paul Reiser moment down in the comments. This has to be a very... Please hold. Just a little bit of wash right there on top. I'll spread this around. We have Reiserian liftoff. Perfect. All right, so obviously I don't want to, directly take these people from the movie. So instead of Pharaoh, we'll say that's Tarot. And instead of Carter Burke, we'll go Barter Kirk. Okay, so we have a Jorma who has mirrored sunglasses, a deadpan expression, takes a risk, wants to be human. Reckless, that works. A pilot, fistful of cash, and pretty good spread here in terms of skills and attributes. We have a 3 in strength, 4 in agility, 3 in wits, and 4 in empathy. Has, for now, his hand radio, pistol, and the last thing that we're going to figure out is just what's HP and resolve encumbrance. So let's take a look at how that works. So we're from the... sorry, I had to turn the air conditioner on. I hope that's not too loud. It's so hot. We're from Tartarus. So Tartarus there's Fort Nebraska and New Galveston. I don't know if you've ever seen this map for the Middle Heavens for the Alien universe, but the U.S., like the States of America, like goes out this way, and this is called the far reach of the American arm. And some of these names are just incredible. Tartarus sector is... Oh, right here. So the Tartarus sector is part of the United Americas, and so I like the idea of being from New Galveston. Huh. Okay, so yeah, and the last thing is the Sol system is right here. So like Sol system, Earth, and then we'd be like, we'll just say we're from New Galveston. I like that. And we'll have to figure out where we're going. We're also going to have to adapt a little for Last Survivor. We'll talk about that. But just a couple of things here that health is strength plus agility divided by 2 rounded up. So that'd be 3.54. So a very deadly game. And then any time that we push a roll, we have to increase a stress level. And then resolve is wits plus empathy divided by 2. So same thing, 4. Encumbrance is 2 times strength total. So that'd be 6. And right now it's just 1.5 out of 6. And with that, I think we have a full sheet. We could obviously, to get into the ship would be a whole other thing here. But yeah, I think that probably settles it for the life path. I think we'll just take it a little bit further to maybe start a story and see what that looks like to actually launch off, so to speak. Okay, so it says when creating your character for Last Survivor, follow the guidelines presented in Chapter 2. When selecting your talents, consider options that fit your character concept while also providing utility. And so, in terms of talents, for me, it seems like there's only the one talent from our character sheet. But reading that makes me feel like, should I be starting with a talent from here and a general talent, or just this one? Let's check on that. In the core game, no. But for Last Survivor, I do get to choose an additional talent. And so we're going to look to the general talents. So we take one career talent, which we have Reckless. And then let's take a look at the general talents. All right, so it says for solo, ideal talents are, there's a bunch of career talents. It does say Reckless, the one we have for the pilot. And then it says fast reflexes, hardened, last one standing, seen it all, stealthy, survivor. So hardened right off the bat, I'm considering because I think that gives us some extra HP, right? Hardened, your maximum health score is increased by 1. You can choose this talent up to 3 times. Fast reflexes. When drawing initiative, draw 2 cards. Yeah. Last one standing. See, this feels like I should get this talent automatically as a solo player. Let me think about that for a second. While I'm thinking about that, I thought we'd go over stealth mode. Now, there are specific rules for it in Last Survivor for solo stealth mode, but let's just look at the general one. I also want to say that I forgot to mention Resolve is a modifier that when you're rolling on the stress reaction or panic reaction, you will subtract your resolve, and the lower results on those tables are typically better, right? You're going to be less likely to have a panic episode. And so resolve in this game could be just as important as health. So on top here, we have the various... in fact, I think I have this printed out. Okay, so I do. So on the top here, we have the different ranges: adjacent, short, medium, long, extreme. And if we look, remember earlier I was like, what is AM here for my range? And that means A to M, adjacent to medium. Now, what I'm not sure about and what I suspect is that when the first letter, rather than it explaining the range available, it's possible that this lower number would be the lowest distance that it could be used, lest there be a penalty. And indeed, this is correct. If you look at the range right here, weapons have a min and max range. Any attack closer than the minimum range gets -2 per dice range below the minimum range. So if like you have a sniper rifle, it's 2 below, you have -4 dice. You might not even be able to like get a shot off. This does not apply against unaware or restrained targets, and it cannot be used beyond its maximum range. Makes sense. Okay, so the different range levels are at the top, and movement in stealth mode is slow and careful. In one stretch of time, and measuring time here, a stretch is 5 to 10 minutes duration, primarily used in stealth. In one stretch of time, your character can move into an adjacent zone of the map. The map is divided into zones. A zone is typically a room, a corridor, or an area, around 25 meters, generally smaller in cramped environments and in open terrain. And there is indications which will come in the actual adventures, the campaign adventures of the maps will have different marks to show the borders of a zone. Okay. So if you want to examine something in a zone, to search a room, you may need to stay several stretches, which makes sense. That's sort of the sacrifice for it. And sometimes that's fine. You have all day. And sometimes that means that every time that you are waiting a stretch, somebody is like coming closer, right? In stealth mode, NPC movement is managed secretly by the GM each stretch after your PCs have moved. So this is definitely going to be some solo rule adjustment for this. Active and passive. An adventure text may tell the GM that enemies are active or passive. Active enemies are moving across the map, stalking you or trying to hide from you. Passive enemies are not aware of you and are most often stationary until they spot you or are otherwise alerted. Enemies may switch from passive to active or vice versa. Okay. And then that's 55, 54. What's next? All right, so this is the normal game stealth sequence. PCs move one zone. So I think stealth would be called like we are in stealth mode in the same way that, you know, a game might initiate combat or some games have like bargaining things. It's a sequence thing. PCs move one zone. If they come within line of sight of an NPC, make passive, open, unopposed observation rolls. For a group, the highest roll counts. If a side wins, they can reveal themselves, ambush, hide in the zone, back out. If it's a tie, draw initiative. Cool. NPCs move one zone on the GM's hidden map. Xenomorphs move one zone per point of speed. If they come within line of sight of a PC, make a passive, open, opposed observation roll, and then a new stretch begins. There's a simplified stealth mode down here. Yeah. Basically just saying it might be hidden by like, or inhibited by the amount of space you have. Hidden map. To manage NPC movement, we recommend that the GM has a second copy of the map hidden from view. So it's like Battleship. You're moving, you know, from quadrant to quadrant. Crawl spaces. Air shafts and other crawl spaces are common features. And again, this I think works really well for this. Access points. A crawl space can be entered by one zone's worth of movement at any access point marked on the map. An access point can typically be sealed with a cutting torch by making a heavy machinery roll. Not even xenomorphs can move through a sealed access point, but acid blood will burn through the crawl space floor in one stretch. When you come within line of sight of an NPC in stealth mode or vice versa, make a passive, open, opposed observation roll. Okay, we talked about that. So if one side wins, they can do these things. That includes if your opponent. If a person remains stationary in a zone for a stretch and does nothing except keeping guard, they gain +2 dice to observation to spot anything within line of sight. And then from there is combat and initiative, which looks very familiar if you have played any Free League game. And then I just want to say too, this universal supply dial, which comes with the starter set, there are certain things that after a certain amount of time, or maybe after, for instance, if you are using, if you're doing a mobility roll, for example, you're doing something strenuous, you have to do a check, like on a supply, or after a combat, you might use like an ammo check. And basically, this is an abstracted way for, like, you make a supply roll for your weapon, and if you don't hit a certain amount, it reduces, right? And the same goes for air. That's why it's good that the compression suit I has a +5 air supply. That would be something you do after a strenuous activity, or it could just be after a certain amount of time. But that's also something that's used to heighten and raise the stakes in this game. It's like, okay, you can like run for it, but you're going to have to do an air supply roll, because otherwise you are overexerting yourself. All right. Excuse me. So back to the solo rules, just to look at the differences for stealth in this. Just a moment, please. They're gonna leave. They're gonna leave. Solo stealth and encounters. In Last Survivor, an alternate stealth mode provides tools to navigate environments and trigger enemy encounters without a GM. The solo stealth and encounter rules are used in tense. Yeah, okay. Movement from place to place without the chance of encountering an enemy should not be tracked and resolved at this level of detail. So it goes over locations and zones. And you set an encounter timer. So since we could use this mothership counter. All clear one. Okay. When exploring an unknown location. Oh, this is cool. Okay, check this out. When exploring an unknown location, or while attempting to search for, evade, escape an enemy presence, use an encounter timer to track the proximity of a potential encounter. An encounter timer functions similarly to a danger timer, but in reverse. The number of dice you roll to check for an encounter increases as you explore a location. Rolling on this timer is called an encounter check and is done as you move from zone to zone. The starting enemy presence should be set as best fits the circumstances. When you make an encounter check and shift the enemy presence to encountered, you must face a potential enemy. If the nature of an encounter is obvious, make it happen. Decide the specifics of the enemy you face and draw initiative. If you're not sure, use the encounter check to reveal additional details. The encounter check is multifaceted. After you've rolled the check, keep the dice and use the same roll to reveal additional details. Using the highest die roll, check the table for enemy behavior. This indicates who has the advantage in the start of the encounter. Using the number of ones rolled, consult the table for enemy threat on the next page to gauge the severity of the threat. Okay, so we're going to use these in a couple different ways, right? And then we can also use escape modifiers to get out of there. What do you think? All right, last thing I'm going to do. All right, so this is the job generator. And I think this is another cool set of tables here. So it says roll D6, I think that means D6 minus 1, to determine the distance to the destination system. Pick a system on the star map on the inside covers of the book or in Hope's Last Day starter set at this distance from the PC's current location. And so now I'm from New Galveston, but who's to say like where I am right now? We'll say I'm in the I want to be outside of like my normal zone. Why don't we say that I am here at Alpha 1, and the distance, okay, so I'm at Alpha 1. I don't even know. There's no distance here. It could be at Alpha 1, or I could say I'm at Ross Perot 627. Pick a system on the star map at the distance from the PC. On a result of 0, the destination is in the same star system. Okay, so it's in the Dayos sector. Roll a d3 to determine the general difficulty. Okay. A 1 indicates a routine mission, while a 3 indicates something difficult and out of the ordinary. The difficulty will determine the number of complications. To determine the base payment offer, add the 2 results above, getting a total sum from 1 to 8. So that would be 3. Multiply the sum by a number of PCs and then by 1,000, 3,000. With successful manipulation, the PCs can negotiate an increase in payment by 20% per that rolled. Interesting. What is my manipulation? I don't even remember. How do I keep losing my player character sheet? That's my biggest question. It's my deepest question I have. All right, I have no manipulation, but I have 4 empathy, so I guess I could try it. Nothing. All right, so no payment. So it's going to be 3,000. It says the following tables are for use with the Space Trucker campaign frame. That's cargo runs. That could be it if I'm working as a space trucker. I don't really know yet. Oh, no, I am with the military. So the following tables are for use with the Colonial Marines campaign frame. And I believe I am working for a small corporation that's under military contract. So there's also expeditions and plot twists, and then you map out how many encounters there are. Okay, so you could say, well, there are 3 because my total there is 3. There's 3 encounters in order to complete this, and the encounters are sort of big things. Stop here, refuel, pick up this person, etc. Which is like a great way to manage or create a solo mission. So we'll just do the space trucker one as an example. So my employer 33 is Gorham. And my bonus rewards for each die spent on getting a bonus reward when negotiating the payment. Oh, I see. That's if I rolled successfully. And then cargo. Jeez, 11. Industrial gases: propylene, acetylene, propane, ethyl formate, chlorofluorocarbon, ammonia, carbon monoxide, ethylene oxide, hydrogen chloride, sulfur dioxide, sulfur hexafluoride. Got that? All right. And then my destination is, obviously fun. 23, mine. Going to a mine. So maybe it's Jackson Mine. That would be good. And then complications, 32. Delay. There's a delay in the liftoff undocking. Perhaps fuel for the reaction drives or coolant cannot be pumped. That's pretty damn cool, right? And then we take that, and it's as simple as pie. We just go, okay, so I have this cargo run, right? And because of the distance and everything, there are just like 3 in sort of overarching steps to this. Now, within each of those, I'm going to have a series of encounters and objectives, and I'm delayed right now. And where I'm heading is in, I think is Ross 627. And this is how we pretty much map out literally our adventure here. We're going from HR 3259 Alpha 1. And also, I never underestimate hidden messages here. That looks like a name of a bill that goes through the House of Representatives. I'm going to look up HR 3259 really quick. Dude, I got very excited for a second, except when I saw that this was introduced or ordered like 18 days ago. I'm like, I don't think they created HR, whatever this is, 18 days ago. Because I'm like, quantum cybersecurity, that's basically what my small corporation I work for as a pilot under Gorham contract is for. Anyways, so what do you think? You think this will work for solo? I know I kind of mucked up the how the encounter goes. But weirdly, even though I messed that up, I feel like everyone gets it. It's almost like I'm the only person who didn't fully get it. Everybody watching did. So hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you'd like to see a playthrough. I have some pretty cool stuff that I want to check out in the interim. I have some Swivers. What else did I get today? Oh yeah, this one looks a little cutie, a little interesting cutie here. Shadow and Fae. So, okay. Thank you, everybody, and of course, always remember. I'll give you your tarot reading of the day here. The Lovers. Look at that. I mean, come on. Is that not perfect? Maybe not. Call your congressman today about the Quantum Cybersecurity Act. We gotta, I don't know if it's good or bad, but we gotta do something with it because prime intellect is replicating themselves. And if prime intellect starts using quantum methods for the correlation, bite.